Today, we are investigating 7 tuna products sold in Australia, and we are pulling back the label to see which ones rely on added oils, flavorings, and heavy processing instead of simple, clean ingredients. Canned tuna is often marketed as a healthy pantry staple. Australians throw it into lunchboxes, salads, sandwiches, and emergency food cupboards. But not every tin is the same. Some products keep it simple with fish and spring water. Others add seed oils, flavor blends, sweeteners, and extra processing that move the product a long way from the clean protein most people think they are buying. Stay with me to the end, because after we go through 5 supermarket products that deserve a closer look, I will show you 2 Australian options that are much simpler and easier to trust. For decades, canned tuna has been sold as the ultimate convenience food. It is cheap, fast, high in protein, and easy to store. That is exactly why so many families buy it without ever checking the fine print. But once you start reading labels, a pattern appears. The cheaper and more heavily flavored the product is, the more likely it is to include added oils, vague flavorings, and extra ingredients that many shoppers are trying to avoid. Let us crack open the truth and go through the products that deserve the most scrutiny. Number 1. John West Tuna to Go. John West is one of the biggest names in the Australian tuna aisle. Their flavoured tuna-to-go tins are marketed as quick, convenient lunches. But these are also the kinds of products where the ingredient list starts to get much longer than most people expect from a simple tin of tuna. Once you move into flavoured varieties like tomato, onion, or sweet chili, you are no longer just buying tuna. You are often buying tuna mixed with oil, flavorings, seasonings, and other additives designed to create a stronger taste and a softer texture. That does not automatically make the product terrible, but it does mean it is no longer the clean, simple protein many people assume it is. If you want pantry food that is as close to basic tuna as possible, flavored tins should be treated with caution. The more flavor promises on the front, the more important it is to read the back. Number 2. Greenseas Tuna. Greenseas has been in Australian cupboards for generations, and that familiar green label gives a lot of shoppers a sense of trust. But brand familiarity is not the same thing as ingredient quality. Budget tuna often aims to hit a very low price point, and that usually means compromises somewhere in the process. Sometimes the compromise is texture. Sometimes it is lower quality cuts. Sometimes it is a product packed in oil instead of spring water. And sometimes it is just a more processed end result than people expect from canned fish. If you are buying tuna for simple protein and convenience, the safest habit is to compare the ingredient list and the nutrition panel instead of relying on an old brand name. Number 3. Woolworths Home Brand Tuna. Cheap home brand tuna can feel like a smart way to save money. And in fairness, sometimes that is exactly what it is. But it is also the category where shoppers most often notice watery texture, softer fish, and a less satisfying product overall. When a tuna product looks mushier, wetter, or less meaty, that is usually a sign that quality has been pushed down to meet a price target. You might still be buying protein, but you may not be getting the same eating experience or the same value as a more straightforward product, packed with firmer fish and fewer extras. The key point is simple. Do not judge tuna by the front label alone. Open one cheap tin next to a better one and the difference in texture can be obvious. Number 4. Coles' own brand tuna. Coles positions many of its products as affordable, practical, and easy for families. But with home brand seafood, shoppers should always slow down and look for clarity. Where was it caught? How was it packed? What exactly is in the tin? And is the sourcing information clear or vague? If a product gives you very little detail beyond broad claims, that does not necessarily mean there is something wrong with it, but it does mean you are being asked to trust the label without much supporting information. When it comes to tuna, transparency matters. A simple ingredient list and clear sourcing details are both worth looking for. Number 5. Sirena tuna in chili oil. Sirena has a premium image in Australia. A lot of shoppers see it as the step up from the cheaper brands. And in terms of texture and overall presentation, many people do think it tastes better. But premium branding does not always mean maximum simplicity. Once you choose a flavored oil variety, you are still choosing a product with added ingredients. That may include a blend of oils rather than one single oil, plus added seasonings or flavor components. Again, that does not make it automatically bad, but it does mean that even premium tuna can become a more processed product once it moves away from plain spring water or plain olive oil options. This is where shoppers often get caught. They assume premium means pure. Sometimes it just means better marketing and a higher price. Now let us step away from the supermarket products that need more caution and move to the options that are much easier to recommend. Number 6. Safcol tuna pouches. If you want a supermarket-friendly option with a shorter, cleaner ingredient list, Safcol is one of the first brands worth checking. Their simpler products, especially the spring water options, are much closer to what most people think canned tuna should be. Fish, water, and not much else. That is the kind of label many shoppers want. No vague vegetable oil, no heavy flavor blend, no long ingredient list trying to turn tuna into a snack sauce. Just a cleaner pantry protein that you can actually work with. If you want convenience without a long list of extras, this is a much better direction to go. Number 7. Little tuna. If you want the most premium option in this list, little tuna stands out because it is positioned much more like a quality seafood product than a mass-market supermarket staple. This is the kind of brand people often seek out when they want firmer fish, simpler ingredients, and a product that feels less industrial. Yes, it costs more. But paying more for a simpler product with better texture and fewer unnecessary extras often makes more sense than paying less for mushy fish in added oil and flavoring. Sometimes the most expensive tin is not the rip-off. Sometimes the real rip-off is the cheap one that barely resembles the food you thought you were buying. The canned tuna aisle is no longer just divided by price. It is fundamentally divided by extreme industrial processing. The massive supermarket corporations want you to look at the bright colors and the bold protein claims on the front of the tin, but they desperately hope you never read the back. At one end of the aisle, you have simple, traditional products packed in pure spring water or a single high-quality oil, featuring incredibly short and honest ingredient lists. But at the exact opposite end, you have highly engineered, heavily flavored tins and pouches that rely on a chemical cocktail of cheap seed oils, artificial seasonings, and synthetic additives simply to disguise a degraded inferior product. They are essentially selling you fish-flavored oil and charging you for health food. That means the absolute smartest thing you can do for your body and your family right now is to stop shopping entirely by habit. We all get busy, we all rush through the supermarket, and we all reach for the same familiar colored tins we have bought for 10 years. But that habit is exactly what these corporations are banking on. You have to start aggressively reading the ingredient list. If the first ingredients after the word tuna are spring water or a clearly named premium olive oil, that is your green light. It means the manufacturer is confident enough in the quality of the fish that they do not need to hide it. However, the moment you see vague terms like vegetable oil, an endless list of artificial flavorings, thickeners, or added refined sugars, you need to put that tin straight back on the shelf. You do not need added sugar and industrial lubricants in your fish. If you want to build a pantry that actually supports your health and provides genuine nutrition, you must choose tuna that is as close to its natural state as humanly possible. Choose spring water where you can, because it leaves the natural omega-3 fatty acids intact without adding cheap, empty calories. If you prefer the taste and texture of oil, demand clearly labeled 100% extra virgin olive oil. The golden rule of the supermarket is that the shorter the ingredient list, the safer the food. Real food does not need a paragraph of chemical names to make it taste good. Australian food culture has drifted dangerously far into a false sense of security. We constantly say we want clean, simple, healthy food for our families, but every week we hand our hard-earned money over to the mega corporations, producing the most highly processed, inflammatory products on the shelf. We have traded genuine, nutrient-dense seafood for the illusion of a $1 convenience. But the power is entirely in your hands. This toxic cycle only breaks when everyday Australians wake up, stop buying the industrial sludge that relies on clever marketing, and start rewarding the honest brands that keep things basic and transparent. If this video opened your eyes to the massive deception happening right now in the Australian tuna aisle, tap the like button so the algorithm pushes this warning to more families who need to start checking their labels before they buy. If you are serious about staying one step ahead of the greedy food industry, avoiding the low-quality supermarket shortcuts, and protecting your family's health and wallet, hit subscribe and turn on notifications right now. Because we are exposing these supermarket tricks every single week, and we are just getting started. Now, I want to hear directly from you in the comments section. Which of these Australian tuna products shocked or disappointed you the most today? Have you been feeding your family the cheap flavored tins? And are you going to start checking every single ingredient list before it goes into your trolley? Let me know your thoughts below.